All right, hello everybody. I wanted to do this video of my session on what marketing should know about IT, which came up at the 2015 SIPA conference. I delivered this first time at the 2013 SIPA marketing conference and had some questions a couple days ago, so I thought I'd review it again, save it to YouTube, and people could look at it as they want. So this is a silly little quote from a story that I used to read to my kids when they were little. The conflict between marketing and IT is not entirely IT's fault. It's not entirely marketing's fault. It's a little bit of both. Now, in order to get a sense of what's going on with marketing and IT, I asked a few marketing professionals to draw me a picture of a bicycle. So that's a pretty decent picture of a bicycle. I can't draw for beans, but you look at that and you know that that's a bicycle, right? But imagine giving that drawing to an engineer and saying, "Can you build this for me?" Well, there's so many functional problems with this. For one, there's no spokes on the wheels. So what keeps this wheel where it is? How do you even know that it is a wheel? You have things that look like pedals here, and you have a thing that looks like a chain. But do we know that there are spokes on this circle here and that there's places on the chain that engage those spokes? And do we know what's going on back here? Are there any, I don't see any brakes. So it's a lovely picture of a bicycle. Everybody knows it's a bicycle, but it's not enough to actually do anything, right? Here's another one. Now this one actually has spokes, which is pretty interesting. But again, there's no brakes. We see one pedal. We assume maybe there's one on the other side. We assume maybe that by turning this pedal, it turns that chain, but how do you know that? Here are these great big handlebars, but do you know that when you turn the handlebars, the wheel moves? See, the problem is that somebody who's going to build something, an engineer or IT, they don't just need to have this concept of a bicycle. They need to know the details about how it's going to be built, what it's going to do, what the functions are going to be. So there are three major themes to my talk. One is that marketing and IT professionals come from different perspectives. They have different goals, different responsibilities. Marketers, in my opinion, need to become much more tech savvy, or at least one marketer in the marketing department needs to become more tech savvy. And marketers need to learn some techniques on how to work with IT. Now, I'm using Screencastify, which is a plugin for Chrome. Pretty cool thing, but it limits me to 10 minutes. So when this one runs out, I'll just stop and start another one. Now, marketing and IT have different cultures. The marketing culture is, I don't know, let's test it. Because things are changing in the marketplace all the time. Do people want wide ties or thin ties? Do people click on red buttons or do they click on Amazon orange buttons? Do people like blue or what? So those kinds of things, what language, what images, what other offers on the page, those things are always changing. So marketing has to be adapting and changing and trying things and doing this and doing that. IT wants to build systems that are going to last. And what they want is a set of requirements. They want to say, okay, tell me what you want, I'll build that, and then we'll be done. Now, there's an old saying, when your only tool is a hammer, the whole world begins to look like a nail. And you can see that problem when you try to work with IT, because IT's main tool is the computer. Computers are incredibly good at doing certain things. They're incredibly good at doing the same task over and over a million times very quickly. So the IT mindset is to automate things, to use things that work well with their skills and with the tools they're using, like databases and templates, to eliminate exceptions, to build something once and use it many times. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to create a system. They're trying to create something. They can build it and it will run and it will solve the problem. They have a technology-centric view. Now, marketing looks at digital solutions as answers to a specific issue, a specific campaign. I'm trying to sell this thing. I'm trying to sell this product. I'm trying to do this new thing. IT looks at it as a system that will be used again and again and again. And those two things can create conflict. Now, so as I said, IT wants processes that are dependable and repeatable. But for marketing, doing the same thing twice means that I didn't learn anything the first time. Marketing wants to test. we're always saying, okay, here's our control, and here are these test panels, and we want to try these things, and we want to try this thing over here. IT doesn't like that. They want to build a system. They want a predictable, manageable way to build something. Marketing needs a way to try new things and then implement what they've learned. And in order for marketing to work with IT on something like that, they need to develop the skills to get IT on board with that kind of changing environment. Now, I know that as a matter of science, the whole left brain, right brain thing is nonsense. It's actually not left brain and right brain. However, what you think of when you think of left brain and right brain, that's a perfectly valid picture of the difference between the marketing personality and the IT personality. If I were to stereotype and generalize, the marketing personality is the outgoing people person. They might be a little, they're creative. The IT people might say that they're flaky. They're coming up with ideas. They're creative, thinking of new things. The IT person, again, if I were to stereotype, is the guy who has a little bit of Asperger's. He's sitting in the corner. He wants to be left alone. He wants to code. He wants to know what he's supposed to do. He wants to be given the job. He's going to put his headphones on and he's going to do it. They're very different people with very different approaches to work and to their jobs. IT also has different priorities. The IT department often grew up as its own thing. It was like its own little empire, partly because the CEO didn't understand the weird stuff that they did behind the curtain. Also, the IT supports the infrastructure of the company. It supports the data. It supports the intellectual capital. It supports the financial information. So that gives IT a very robust presence with management, because management has to defer to IT in a lot of ways, and they need to make sure that the IT guys are happy. And if the IT guys come and say, this is a security problem, this is a risk, this is something we really don't want to do, management's going to listen to them. Now, there's also a difference between IT and marketing in the sense of timetables. When a marketing department says we're going to send out this direct mail campaign on this date, then they have to coordinate things with the printer and with the mailer and with all this other stuff. They have firm deadlines. This product is going to launch at this time. Now, not all marketing people are perfect at meeting their deadlines, but they do have deadlines. IT projects, in my experience, are almost always behind schedule. There isn't usually a firm deadline. Sometimes there is, but often it's something that gets delayed and delayed and delayed. And in order for marketing, when they have a firm deadline, to work with IT, who are used to being able to push projects back because, well, it's not done yet, or you didn't tell us about this, or whatever, they need to be able to agree on a clear schedule with clear deliverables ahead of time. Now, so details versus big picture. The IT side of this question, the programmer is thinking, okay, you have this new idea, you have this thing you want to build, you have this new concept. How do I make that work with all my other systems? What's that going to mess up? Which server is that going to use? What resources do I have to apply to make this thing run? What am I going to have to do to keep it up to date, to update it, to maintain it? Does it create a security problem for my data? The IT guy is thinking in terms of systems. He's thinking in terms of how does this individual thing that you're trying to build work in with the overall system that he has to manage and keep running. On the other hand, the big picture for marketing is, I want this now, usually. It's how's this going to make money? How do I measure the success of this project? That's usually not a huge question for IT. For IT, it's a success means the servers don't crash, page response time is still good, there's no security holes, things are running well. That's success for IT. For marketing, success might be I've got the right response that I wanted, or I got enough people to sign up for this thing, or I sold more copies of my magazine. Now the Screencastify is telling me I only have 16 seconds left, so this will probably be the last slide in this section. So marketing is thinking, if this doesn't work, how can I change it? And sometimes that drives IT crazy, and I'll talk about that further.